This is Chloe Blohm. We met at Muscular Dystrophy Camp. She was my very first camper, so I'm really excited that she's here to talk to you guys today. I hope that she can inspire you today as much as she did within the first 5 minutes that I met her. So,
I asked myself, how am I to give a speech about beauty when I'm in a room full of gorgeous women? But then I reminded myself that even the most beautiful women have their own insecurities as well. As a child, I felt like a princess. I had long blonde hair and big blue eyes. I rode around in my hot pink wheelchair that I imagined was my chariot. I felt unstoppable. I had dreams of becoming something bigger than anyone could imagine. I had friends and confidence that gave me the strength to defeat anything that came in my way. But more importantly, I felt beautiful. I eventually moved from my small elementary school in West Los Angeles to my middle school, much larger. I had upgraded from my pink chair to a purple wheelchair. I no longer looked at my wheelchair as a chariot, but rather as a ball and chain. My feelings of being unstoppable but crushed when the reality of being born with a rare form of congenital muscular dystrophy began to set in. For those of you who do not know what muscular dystrophy is, it is a disease of the muscles. It causes defects in muscle proteins and the death of muscle cells and tissues. My loss of muscle mass did not completely demolish my dreams of becoming something big, but I knew it would take me a few extra steps and a lot of hard work to where I wanted to be. Being an 11-year-old girl in a big middle school is hard enough, but then to add a physical disability on top of that is much more difficult. At my elementary school, everyone knew me and I knew everyone. I was considered to be popular. But then I was in a new atmosphere where girls had developed faster than I had. Girls were wearing makeup and had no reason to stuff their bras. It was emotionally and physically the most difficult time in my life. Not only was my body weakening over time, but also I was struggling with the feeling of not having anyone to confide in. I was laughed at, mocked, whispered about, and stared at. I had my parents and my brother that I did express my thoughts to, but I felt, and sometimes to this day feel, that no one, not even my family, will completely understand unless they were in my situation. I have my moments where I feel like a breathing skeleton rather than a human being. I was made fun of on many occasions, and kids often called me anorexic. They automatically assumed that I'm skinny because I don't eat. My insecurities about my weight root back to my early teens. My insecurity with my weight is not that I want to be skinnier, which in most cases is what girls want. But in my case, I would be thrilled if I could gain a few extra pounds. But no matter what I eat, my disease won't allow it. I often get annoyed when I hear girls complain about how they are fat, when in reality, they are beautiful the way they are. I know if I'm saying that about other girls that are critical about their own weight, then I should listen to my own advice. Sometimes I joke around about how I need to lose 10 pounds by tomorrow. I often turn to humor to break the ice, or to put people in perspective of exactly what it is they are complaining about. I often turn to humor to hide the fact that I'm insecure. I think humor is a great way to cope and help accept the things that you do not like about yourself. You don't have to laugh all the time, but a sense of humor can help you overlook the unattractive, tolerate the unpleasant, cope with the unexpected, and smile throughout the day. I find it interesting how we all have different opinions on what makes us feel beautiful. In most cases, women base beauty off of their appearance. We have been taught that if we aren't a certain height, weight, have perfect hair, flawless skin, or white teeth, then we are not beautiful. When in fact, a majority of every beauty advertisement we see daily has been modified. It is a lie that beauty comes in one shape, size, and color. I will not follow in the shadows of my worst nightmare and become someone I do not love. As the years passed, I was able to understand my body and the changes it was making. I was able to gain my confidence back that I once had as a child. I turned to painting as an exit from all the negativity in my life. Painting has become therapy for my soul. I began painting when I was 13 years old. I was able to think about a lot while painting. I realized that being down on myself for being different was not the life I wanted for myself. I realized that complaining about something I do not have control over would not bring me confidence or make me feel beautiful. It's about being content with oneself. It's not about what you look like or what you do. I have many acquaintances and a handful of friends that I know will be there through thick and thin. I have no reason to be insecure about my friendships, but in the back of my mind, I've created this idea that my friends are only my friends because they feel bad for me. I feel as if people are my friends because of my disability rather than who I am. I just can't help but wonder if sometimes they do what they do for me because they genuinely enjoy spending time with me or if it's out of pity. I know I'm being silly to be even thinking this, but I guess you could say I have a small trust issue based on my experiences I've had in the past. I have come across a few people in my life that have admitted they hang out with me because of the privileges I received for being disabled. For an example, when I used to go to school, I was able to leave each class 10 minutes early to miss the crowd. I have had people try and befriend me so they could say that they were going to walk me to my next class, when in fact they would just leave me to fend for myself. I now know whom to trust, but I am still hesitant at people's alternative motives. One of my biggest insecurities has to be the fear of being alone. I don't mean alone in a house or in the dark. I mean dying alone, without experiencing love. You would think I would fear death more than anything else, but I don't at all. When my time does come, I would like to know that I loved and was loved back for who I am. Recently, I've been struggling with my desire to love and be loved. Who doesn't want someone in their life that they can share things with? I won't lie, I love boys. I'm definitely not obsessed with them, but they don't control my life, but I enjoy their company. I've always been an outspoken girl. If I like you, you'll know. If I don't like you, you'll know. I remember when I was 12 years old, and a girl and I were talking about a boy, and I had mentioned how he was cute. The girl replied by saying, "Why would anyone want to be with you? You're in a wheelchair." I doubted myself and questioned the reality of ever having a romantic relationship. As I entered early adulthood, more serious questions entered my head. Instead of thinking about superficial things such as, does the boy think I'm cute? I asked myself, what do I have to offer in a relationship? Who would want to invest time in a relationship with me? What is going to happen when I'm ready to be intimate? What would marriage look like for me? Will we end up resenting one another? What if you want to build family and I can't do that? What if I can't satisfy him like a normal girl could? Is it fair for a guy to try anything with me? Who would be sexually attracted to me? If I'm asking myself these questions, I can only imagine what goes on in a boy's mind when considering me. I've never had a guy tell me he likes me or even been kissed. Unless you consider when I was 6 years old and my brother Jared or family tried to kiss me, which ended with me falling off a bench and landing on my face. See, I have bad luck. I'm not afraid to say that I know my wheelchair and my body is a major factor in any relationship. My reality is that anyone I ever get involved with will have to be an understanding and patient man. At times when I feel down on myself, I like to remember that beauty cannot be judged objectively. For what one person finds beautiful or admirable may not appeal to another. A pleasing appearance is not a guide to character. I want someone to love me for who I am, not for what I am or what I can't do. Muscular dystrophy is not what I am, but who I am because of it. I have to remain hopeful and stay positive that one day things will happen for me. People often say I'm strong for being such an honest person. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I'm brutally honest and people come to me for the ugly truth. I used to think being a strong person was all about the physicality of the word. But the older I get, I realize that being strong isn't so much about the body, but rather the mind, body, and soul, all in one. Being strong is about being honest and vulnerable with yourself and others. Being strong is letting people in even with the risk of rejection. Being strong is looking at your flaws as gifts instead. Being strong means realizing that every now and then it's okay to ask for help. Being strong means knowing it's okay to have a moment of weakness. Being strong is knowing that nothing will change you from being the best you can possibly be. Being strong means making the best decisions even when you know they're the hardest. Ironically, my name, Chloe, means blooming. I feel like I'm blooming into a woman I want to be. I'm fortunate to have such a great support system from the wonderful female figures in my life, such as my mom and my stepmom, because without them, I would be lost. I have such extraordinary friends that guide me through the good and the bad. I believe I am the woman today because of the support, love, and dedication each woman in my life has given me. It is true when they say it takes a village to raise a child. I strongly believe that each relationship we come across in life always changes us for the better, never for the worse. Even after all the cruelty I have faced, I have learned lessons. We are not defined by what happens to us, but how we choose to handle it. Being a woman is about being proud of yourself, holding promises you make with yourself and others, willing to admit fault and fix your mistakes, loving yourself inside and out, having fun, and never taking yourself too seriously. I hope I inspired you to look at life in a different perspective. I hope you see that we are all beautiful in our own ways. Our bodies are our maps of the journeys we have taken. We all have our stories to tell, and we should never be ashamed. You are not your name, your fears, your failures, or your past. You are hope, courage, wisdom, imagination, strength, and ambition. You are beautiful.